the episode of It's About Payroll. We're at episode 204. And it just couldn't be any better. We have two amazing guests tonight, and we'll get right into it. We have John Bernatovicz. I should have practiced this, John. You want to pronounce it for us?
It's Bernatovicz. It's all good.
Bernatovicz. John Bernatovicz. And
I always joke with people, Brian, when they ask me how to pronounce my name, I say it's John. So anyway.
That's a good one. And we have Tammy Gillenwater. A lot easy. Thank you, Tammy. A CPP. The two incredible voices in the world of payroll, leadership, people strategy. John is the founder of Willory, an author, a keynote speaker, podcast host, and a recognized HR and payroll leader whose work focuses on helping leaders create better experiences at work and at home. Tammy is a senior consultant at Willory, certified payroll professional, speaker, and passionate advocate for the payroll profession who has built a reputation around excellence, leadership, and elevating the impact of payroll. Together, they are the authors of Payroll Like a Boss, which is set to release this April 2026, and they're helping spark a bigger conversation about the future, influence, and importance of payroll. Please welcome John and Tammy. How you doing, folks?
Great. Thanks for having us. We're
major fans, Brian and Walt. If we sound nervous or we crackle in our voices, we've been waiting our whole lives for this moment, and I can't even believe it. We've made it, Tammy. We made it. Finally, we made it.
Yeah.
On the It's About Payroll podcast.
And I think, did you guys say you are going to be at Congress this year?
No, we won't be this year. Maybe next year. Yeah, next year. Yeah. But I'm looking forward to hearing about what you guys. Yes. It's always a camaraderie type of thing. We always got each other in spirit.
Yeah.
So as we always ask, what is the origin story here? How'd you guys get into payroll?
Same way everybody else. Just kind of landed there. Right? I just kind of landed there. I've worked in payroll for over 30 years. And the sad part is I finally had an epiphany about 5 years ago that this is actually a career and not just a job, which has led me to where I am today.
Yes, absolutely. What was your first payroll job?
My first payroll job, I was the secretary to the personnel director at a small savings and loan.
Sounds right.
And I had no business doing payroll, none at all. And I joke around about, I remember still, I can hear it in my brain, the sound of the modem when payroll was being processed and thinking, all right, I did my job. I did it right. So yeah, it was a satisfying sound.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
What about you, John?
Actually, right out of college, I had a choice to make, either be a professional golfer or get into payroll, and I chose payroll. And joke. That's no joke. Have you not heard that before, Brian? Is that a first?
I feel like that's a first.
All right. It's a very true story. And there's a little bit more detail to that. I played Division I golf at Kent State University. Go Flashes. It's a wonderful public university in Northeast Ohio. And I was on the golf team there. And I honestly considered becoming a professional golfer and pursuing my passion. I just realized it was a lot. There was a lot that I'd have to do. Other players I had to pass up, and maybe too much of a realistic brain. But I also really loved the idea of owning my own business one day. And I started doing interviews in the Career Center through Kent State. And I met this recruiter named John, ironically, who worked for this company named ADP. I don't know if you ever heard of them before. ADP.
Maybe. Sounds familiar.
Small little payroll company out of New Jersey. Got like a red logo and stuff. And anyway, I was offered a position with them, and I decided to pursue that. I was in an intern and sales, and then sales management, and then got into leadership. And I remember vividly going to Roseland, New Jersey, learning how to process a payroll on a circular E. And I thought, well, this is pretty cool. And then I got surrounded by a bunch of people that were super passionate about serving the clients that in the Cleveland office, who were just really great, fantastic people. And that first year or two of my professional career was my master's in payroll, my master's in business. my master's in developing relationships. And obviously 30 some plus years later, I'm still rolling around in this whole thing called payroll. Luckily, I don't do payroll that often anymore for everyone that wants to get paid properly. And when I do get involved in payroll, that means something bad's happening. So I got to help out my team. And there's an inside joke to that, ironically. But as far as my passion for this, I love working around numbers. I love working with people. I love solving problems. And to spend my days working with great people like Tammy and supporting our clients, and having now been on this Payroll Like a Boss journey, Brian and Walt, I'm reinvigorated on payroll being probably the most selfless group of individuals I've ever met in my life. And we're going to try to not turn them to be selfish, but to become more brave and sharing their stories about how important payroll is inside of an organization.
Yep.
Nice. So what was the moment you guys realized that Payroll Like a Boss needed to exist as a brand, not just like a name of a book?
I'm going to actually let John start this answer because it's his part is first in the history of this.
Yeah, just for the listeners' sake, I told Brian and Walt, make sure that Tammy answers all the questions first so I can have her show her expertise and knowledge, and then I can make some quick-witted jokes and that do my part. Anyway, the Like a Boss idea for payroll, really the genesis happened probably 6+ years ago. I unfortunately lost my parents in a short, compressed time frame, 2019, 2020. Right in the midst of COVID, I got this crazy idea to write a book. I started writing that book, and I couldn't get past the title page. It was a book about what I thought business success was like and what it really was like. And the title of it was I Got It All Wrong. Maybe at some point I'll reinvigorate writing that book. Anyway, I told my director of marketing, Bridget Klein, who's a very integral role of us helping to write and edit and review Payroll Like a Boss. She was asking me about my book writing. I said, I'm not doing very well. She then went on to tell me it would be a lot easier if you wrote a book that was aligned to our business more. And we already had an outline for HR Like a Boss because I had done a presentation in 2017 and 2018 with a similar title. All I heard Bridget say would be easier. And I went and took the title, slides, and all the content in the HR Like a Boss presentation, and I formed a table of contents, and then I just started writing. Long story short, to make this very long story short, I ended up committing to 1,000 words every single weekend and told myself if I did that, I would have a manuscript by the end of 1 year. Turns out we ended up having 100,000 words, of which when you write a book, you didn't realize how many really bad ideas you had. I tell you how many bad ideas I had. About a fourth or a third of them were cut out of the book. And then I got introduced to the folks at SHRM, which is Payroll Org's equivalent on the HR side.
Yep.
And they became the publisher of my book, which was really cool, thanks to a great recommendation from another one of their authors. And then it became their first ever #1 new release in HR on the Amazon, their bestseller list, which was hard to believe. Anyway, I sent all my team a copy of the book. And then one day I get this text from Tammy, we need to talk. And you know what happens when somebody says that to you, Brian and Walt? She was about to quit Willory. And I was like, oh, shoot.
Yes, exactly.
Anyway, she had this epiphany after having read my book. She didn't realize how aligned we were on this idea of looking at your job, not just payroll, not just HR, but any particular position from an ownership perspective to make sure you love it, and then make sure that you're adding value to the business. You're driving results for your employees, and then you're making a difference in the community. That's what HR Like a Boss is all about. A few months later, similar text, similar call, we need to talk. Luckily, I already knew that I don't think she was going to quit. And she said, I want to write a book. I'm like, awesome. She says, can you help me? I said, fantastic. And then she looks at me and says, let's call it Payroll Like a Boss. And how can you turn Tammy Gillenwater down? And so be it. We had the idea for Payroll Like a Boss. We kind of sat on it, I feel like, Tammy, for 6 to 9 months.
Yeah.
Then we really got in the earnest of writing it. And then once we realized the best launch day would be April 28th, 2026, we really got after it because we had a deadline, and payroll professionals love their deadlines. And as of the recording of this show, our book is in production. It will be ready to be released on April 28th. It'll be on ebook. for only 99 cents. If you want an actual paperback copy, you can get that for $29.99. And then sometime in late May-ish, we'll be launching an audiobook with Payroll Like a Boss as well. That's the last year and a half to 2 years of my life, thanks to Tammy Gillenwater, and why Payroll Like a Boss became a thing.
Amazing. Was there a point that you almost did do the book?
No, but like John said, we kind of sat on it for a while, trying to figure out the best way to, well, we were modeling it after the HR Like a Boss because of the Like a Boss concept. But I think maybe we had to think a little bit about, okay, yes, there's a lot of parallels between these two professions, but there's also differences. And one of my favorite things, I don't know if this is John's favorite thing, but one of my favorite parts in the books is there's a chapter in there called Warning. And when John wrote HR Like a Boss, he talked about how, unfortunately for HR professionals, they're hated a lot because they're blamed for a lot of things. And when he wrote the same chapter for Payroll Like a Boss, he said, payroll professionals are not hated, but they're not thought about at all. And that was one of those things that, again, stopped me in my tracks. I was like, wow, that's really true.
Yeah, I would say this, Brian and Walt, to add on to what Tammy suggested, there probably was a moment or two, having known myself what the book was going to be about and how much work it was going to take, that I wasn't necessarily sure. I'm not suggesting Tammy couldn't do it. I just didn't know if I wanted to add that level of responsibility and extra work into her schedule. And because payroll professionals are always busy, they don't have a lot of spare time. And certainly it's a challenging aspect of that. And I was just super respectful of her schedule. When she was adamant that she wanted to do it and it's her idea, I never skipped a beat, Brian and Walt. I said, let's do it. Let's get after it. And I could tell in my heart, Tammy's done so many things for me, has served so many other people, has such a great reputation. I felt like her story needed to be told. And I appreciate her sharing some love about a chapter I wrote. But the best chapter in the book is chapter 6. Payroll chose me. It's the only chapter. We actually wrote the book, Brian. The way that we did it is we had around 20 chapters and we divided and conquered. We said, okay, Tammy, you write these 10. John, you write these 10. We didn't know what order they were going to go in. And then the job after we wrote them was, okay, John, make sure you put a little bit of your flavor on Tammy's chapters. Tammy, put a little flavor of you on John's chapters. And then there was one chapter that Tammy had written about how she got into payroll. And as a result of that, Brian and Walt, we ended up having every one of the chapters come from a we voice, the author's voice. But the Payroll Chose Me voice came from just Tammy. That was the only chapter in the book that has the I. And it's a really beautiful chapter. As a matter of fact, I did a post not too long ago. It made me cry as I was flying back from a trip, reading the manuscript, just because how beautiful it was to hear her lead up. And her point of, and back to my point earlier, the invisibleness that she felt, the lack of credibility she felt as a payroll professional. She talked about in the chapter about wanting to get out of it and how do I find a way? And I never really identified as a payroll professional. And then at one point, she got this spirit. And I don't know whether I had any small part in it, whether the book HR Like a Boss did, whether she went through a hardship as well as losing her mom and dealing with a number of things in her life, which she writes about in that chapter. And as I was reading that chapter not too long ago, I was just like, this is why we do this. This is why we're doing this, to give Tammy the spotlight that she's deserved for so long, that she's worked so hard on, a chance for her to tell her story, but also do what she does, which is deliver amazingly awesome payroll and support her community of other payroll professionals. And with that said, Brian, and Walt, there was no way we weren't going to do this. And based upon the response we've had so far, I feel like it might be one of the best business decisions and personal decisions I've ever made in my life.
Absolutely. Amazing.
Yeah.
I love it.
And I think
can't wait to read it.
I felt, like John said, I felt kind of invisible at times, even doing client work, people who literally hired me to come in and do a payroll assessment for them, or anything payroll related. But there were times when I felt like, are they really taking this seriously? And then on top of that, I was seeing and hearing how invisible their payroll staff felt. a number of times where, I've found something that was out of compliance and I brought it to their attention, and their payroll resource said, yeah, we already brought that to their attention. And I said, well, what happened as a result? Well, they just kind of blew us off. To me, to help other payroll professionals, what did I say the other night, John? There's going to be an uprising in payroll. And the payroll professionals are going to find their voice and they're going to start using it.
Yep, absolutely. I think we're like on the cusp of that now.
Agreed.
It's been crazy because I remember the first book, I always say the books that are payroll books, but not textbooks.
Right.
It was like Anita Latik was the first one, then was Bart van der Storm, and then Max van der Griesbusink. And they were all from the Netherlands.
Yep.
All from the Netherlands, right? And I was like, oh my gosh, no way. Like, we got to change this. And still, Max does another one. Then Nick's from the UK. Our two teams, to my knowledge, are the only American-based authors for a payroll book, right? And I was like, yes, we got to do it. So I love it. Yeah, the voice is definitely getting louder, but it still amazes me that there's still folks who don't know about the networking, like all the things. And I think I told somebody about the book. They were like, that's a thing, like I was saying podcasts, and they're like, what are you talking about? And especially now as I'm building the consulting business and going out into, networking and business development, they're like, payroll podcast, that's a thing. And I was like, yeah, and there's a few of them. And they're like, what? So
my family does not understand what I do. They don't get it. I think my stepdaughter called me one day to ask me a question about her paycheck and said, you work with numbers, right? Yeah, okay. My niece is in payroll and she chose to be there. And so that makes me happy, but no one else in my family has a clue what I do and they don't understand it. So they all just kind of, oh, you wrote a book? Nice. Congratulations. It's about payroll. I probably won't be reading it. Yeah, but
oh my God,
it is necessary. And congratulations, by the way, on your book. I actually have a copy of it.
Oh, well, I owe you a new one then, because we rushed. So I did get one thing, right? We were the first to publish this year, I think. But then Max is, dude, did you look at the book? And I was like, he's like, did you get the author copy? And I was like, what do you mean? That's a thing? And he's, oh my God, Brian. And I was like, Max, man, I just wanted to get it out. It took us a year and change to get this thing done. And I was so anxious to get it out. He's like, yeah, but your fonts and your format. And I was like, yes, I'm going to fix it. I'm sorry. And he's like, all right, don't worry. Just get it fixed.
I love how funny.
So I owe you a new one for sure. And it's done. We literally just got it reformatted and nice and tidy, and out it'll go. And we're not going to win any literary awards. It's about getting it out there, right? And we want it to be a tool for folks to, if for new grads and folks who want to pivot. And if you breeze through it, you'll see that, right? It's just, hey, you think about payroll? Read the book. And I literally just had this. A friend of mine was like, hey, my son is going to get an accounting degree. What do you think? I was like, well, have him read the book. If he's interested, then tell him to call me. I'd probably have a job for him soon. And he's really, I was like, yeah, but have him read the book first and see if he's interested.
Yeah.
So we're super excited about a couple things. Just to add on to that, mine.
Yeah.
I think the celebration of payroll, the work that you're doing, Brian, the names that you mentioned, Nick and Max and Bart and all them, we obviously have had some exchange or interaction with them. And once you start to showcase payroll in the way that we have in that book writing and podcasting, thought leadership, influence. I hate those words, but those are words that are thrown out there in the universe. People start to pay attention a little bit and clarify things and whatnot. And I have this general belief about payroll professionals and the community of doing payroll as we describe it, in a strategic way that drives business results. If you're going to be a payroll professional, you might as well be the biggest badass payroll professional that you can possibly be. Who cares if your niece doesn't know what you do.
Right.
Who cares, your husband, when he asks you, how was work today? And you go into how you had this challenge with some compliance issue and they're gazed over, not realizing what you're saying. That's okay. Get into what you're doing in as professional and as top level as you're capable of being, and be a badass payroll professional.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not doing that and you relegate yourself to, oh, my position is behind the scenes, or no one pays attention to me, or never get a pat on the back for doing a well-processed payroll, that's just part of the job. And honestly, the best payroll professionals I know, they love that. They don't need that personal admiration from someone else patting them on the back. They get pride out of running a clean payroll.
Yes.
And when they don't do one right and they fix it in a professional and caring way, they get pride out of that. That's the kind of payroll professionals that I love to connect with. And for the rest of you, I don't mean to talk about you specifically, but you're listening to this show for a reason.
Yep.
Let's become the best version of yourself professionally as a payroll leader that you can. And Payroll Like a Boss is not at all. We don't even talk about how to process payroll. We do talk about accurate and timely payroll. That's a drinking game if you read the book. How many times we reference those words in a row, accurate and timely. But there's no circular E reference. There's no basically how to process gross to net. But we talk about the business elements that payroll can influence. And this is what I believe, the vast majority of payroll professionals got the gross to net down.
Yeah.
They got the tax compliance down. They don't have the other elements, the business acumen, the things that people would recognize you and say, you know what, you're a different payroll professional than I'm used to. And that's what we want them to say in the most loving and caring way.
Yeah. And I'd like to add to that too.
Please.
The payroll community itself, like, we don't need anybody else to know what we do, right? We don't need everybody else to understand us. We can be mysterious to the out world, because the payroll community is so good at lifting each other up and lending a hand, and people I could go to for answers to things. That tremendous community. And I don't think people know, especially people not in the profession, they don't know what an awesome community it is. Their payroll professionals are generous, they're giving, and supportive. And I love being a part of the community.
Yeah. It is very special. It's awesome. And what I wanted to ask is that, or rather, who is the book for? Right? I think John started to speak on it. Who should read this book?
Well, I want to make really clear, because one of the things that John and I talked about, I want to make sure that payroll professionals who are in leadership roles or management roles, that the book doesn't come across as though it's just for them. Yes, it talks about leadership and how to be a leader, but you can be a leader in a one-person payroll department. And so,
that's right.
From my perspective, this book is for all payroll professionals who want to make them more visible, who want to get a seat at the table, who want to make an impact on their organization and other people. I think at one point we even talk about the outgoing veterans.
Yeah.
That too, and the legacy that they want to leave.
Yeah,
I'll add to that. I think anybody, the demographic who we try to write it for, and this is what I would say: writing a book was a very personal journey. There's an element to it that there's a selfishness to it. It's Tammy's telling her story. We're sharing what we think our wisdom is in regards to how to take payroll to a more strategic level. As we target, you write that book, you think about, well, who's going to be the consumer? And it's the everyday Jane and Joe payroll professional. And to Tammy's point, I don't care if you lead a 250,000 employee payroll processing on a weekly basis for one of the most well-known brands in the world, or if you're doing payroll as one of 15 jobs you have as an office manager or a tax accountant or whatever. The book is designed around that because it's a lot about leadership. It's a lot about bravery. It's a lot about leveraging tools and resources that maybe you don't have time to be able to develop those skills. It's that extra layer. And then the other element that I would say is that if there's anyone that's within the fringe of payroll, if you're a CFO, if you're a head of HR, if you're wondering how to help your
payroll adjacent. Yep.
Payroll adjacent. Perfect, Brian. If you're payroll adjacent, I think you're going to relate more to this book. And I had the same thing that Tammy suggested to me. I can't tell you how many of my friends bought my book and said, I don't really do HR. I bought it to support you. I'm not really going to read it. And then every once in a while, they would read it and be like, well, that had nothing to do with HR. That was about business skills and about managing people and leveraging relationships and communicating better. And quite frankly, there is a lot of reference to payroll. There's some payroll jokes and there's some payroll references in it for sure. But it's more about how do you become a better business professional. And as a result of that, and I talk about this all the time, we need to steal from our employers, not actual money, but the time that we're working, we need to use the 40 hours and they're paying us big bags of money to become better business people. Well, what happens when you become a better business person? You learn skills like leveraging technology or communicating better or using emotional intelligence. Those skills transfer into your life, into the relationship you have with your spouse and your kids and your neighbors and your loved ones and vendors. And to me, people remember that, Brian, more than how well you process a payroll. How did we make you feel as a human being when you interacted with payroll? And that's what, to me, the demographic is about. Someone that cares about how they're making people feel, whether they're directly in payroll, whether they're payroll adjacent, whether they're a fan of Tammy Gillenwater or they're related to her. My guess is that you're going to learn something new, and hopefully we did our best. And I'm not joking on you, Brian, but I'm just suggesting we read that damn manuscript 10 different times, backwards and forwards.
It was more than 10.
Crisp and clean. It was more than 10 counted, of course. Crisp and clean. And even when we got our first advanced copy from our editor, the book copy was the wrong size. And the font inside was the wrong size. And we found a couple typos. And luckily we fixed them. I'm sure, Brian, that when we get the book production out, there might be one thing wrong. And that's okay because we did it. And we're here on the other end, just like you can fix it nowadays. And they're not going to print 1,000 copies of these without somebody buying them. And we hope the payroll community enjoys it. We hope they enjoy the moniker of Payroll Like a Boss. There's an aura to that. There's a confidence to that. There's a stick your chest out, put your chin up. And like I said, love your job and take ownership and be proud of what you do. Don't let others convince you that you don't matter because you don't get credit for something that you do every week. That's okay. Find your own enjoyment in it, whatever way you can. Man, am I on a soapbox. I'm going to go on mute and let Tammy and Brian and Walt keep talking.
No, now that John's giving me some room here, you're absolutely right. I'm backing up a bit because we don't need all the accolades, right? There's when check date hits and I'm not getting a million phone calls, it's a win. It's a huge win, right? And a boss one time, we were talking about something and I said, it's all right that you don't know I'm right. I know I'm right. And he was one of the best boss, literally the best boss I've had in my life, still a mentor of mine. And we learned from each other and he was willing to learn and we had a good relationship. We still have a great relationship. But yeah, you're right. I thought about that. The whole, we don't need everybody to know. I did miss an author, another European, Haley Patterson, The Value of Payroll. The hits just keep coming. I love it. We got to do like a world tour with all the books.
I'll go to the Netherlands. Won't you, Tammy? What's going on over there in Europe? What's in the water over there? Because it's funny.
I don't know.
I want to share two things about the Europe side of this, and then I just want to add on to what you said. And if you don't mind, I might steal what you just described. Because what is the greatest compliment to a payroll professional on payday? No emails, no calls,
no phone calls.
And quiet. That peace of mind, that quiet. You earn that. You don't really. Do you want a bunch of people coming in your office?
No.
Patting you on the back and wasting 5 or 10 of your minutes talking about their dog or their whatever the case is. You want that freedom because you worked your butt off Monday through Wednesday or whatever it is to get it right. So I might steal that idea. The other thing I want to share is we had this contest on LinkedIn about the logo for Payroll Like a Boss, the front cover.
I saw that.
We got a lot of love, and we ended up actually merging them together. But I got a couple of, hey, just so you know, money's not green in Europe. The euro's not green, like certain things inside.
No way.
So we went with green because we're doggone cocky Americans. But with all due respect to my European and all my friends across the world, we will come to your beautiful payroll organizations.
Mhm.
We'll share our story.
Mhm.
There'd be nothing better for me to get Tammy on a world tour on Payroll Like a Boss. That would be
There
one
you
of
go.
God's gifts. I'll share
Well,
that for sure.
and we did include our global partners because we did not release the book on National Payroll Week. We're releasing it on Global Payroll Week.
Ooh, I love that.
And that was intentional.
There you go. Awesome. That's awesome. I was wondering, because you guys said you were very intentional about the date, so I've been meaning to
Yes.
ask. That's great. Awesome. And yeah, you guys spoke about the aging out, you said it better than that. And that's what inspired our book, right? And as you know, Tammy, if you read through it, and we did not want to hide anything about it. We used AI to write it, but we took our first 140 episodes of the podcast and ran it through. We really thought we were cheating, right? We're like, we're going to be done in a month. This is going to be easy. And it was not.
No.
It took a year and probably, a year and a half almost at this point. It was not easy. Chat got it wrong. We became really good at prompting and learning about AI. So it was a twofer, right? We got to learn how to be really good with AI, and that helped out a lot with working. And we also got the book and crafted the book out of it. And it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy at all. And we went through iterations. Also, we intended it to be something else. And then AI was like, wow, this is kind of more of a guide to payroll. And we were like, wait a minute, that's what it could be, because ADP did a study a few years ago, and I think it was like 80-something% of the payroll professionals in the US are over 40 and aging out. So we were like, wait a minute, we got to get some new blood. And nobody chooses payroll. I think it's the second or third time in the 20 plus years now that we've actually heard of somebody choosing payroll. Walt is one of them. He chose payroll in the military. And for the guests and everybody, Walt's having technical difficulties and dropped off. We're going to figure it out soon. But he's here in spirit.
This is interesting. A couple years ago, I was at the Ohio Conference for Payroll Professionals, and there was a presentation on retirement planning, and she asked how many people in this room will be retiring within the next, 5 to 7 years, and half the room raised their hand.
Wow.
For the Cleveland Payroll chapter, our president just retired. Our past president, who's still on the board, just retired. My payroll mentor is retiring this year. It's crazy.
Oh my
We're
goodness.
losing so many incredible people in the profession. And Jen and I have
Brian and Tammy, just to add to that, and sorry, I was referencing Walt when he was still on as far as just his emoji or his name, but we miss you, Walt. We'd love to come back on and share the stories and get you to grill us even more so than Brian does. But this idea of the aging workforce in payroll payroll work makes it even worse. I don't know. There's a data point, 93% of payroll professionals are over the age of 35. And
oh my gosh,
an indirect reason why I believe Payroll Like a Boss could have an impact is Like a Boss is cool. Like a Boss is cool. And I say that not because I didn't make the words up, but I put them in front or behind HR. And there's an aspect of that gives you this fever, this pitch, this feeling. And we got to make payroll cool.
Yep.
Gross to net and tax compliance. Okay. That's part of the job. But the other elements we write about in the book about how can you help your CFO better plan for workforce, your biggest expense, and you can drive profitability. How can you help your CEO identify the right type of companies to purchase so that when you spin them in or spin them out, payroll is aware of all that? How can you leverage technology to become really proficient at your job? Primarily, one of the main reasons why we hired Tammy is their technical capabilities around systems. And she's then amplified her career and has done what she's been able to do because of that expertise. I'm not suggesting the table stakes of payroll, gross to net, and tax compliance are not critically important. But honestly, what's going to make you different and stand out are the other things you're going to do adjacent to those elements that can drive business results for your organization.
Can you guys hear
that? Was
that?
the other part that, yeah, it's not loud. No worries.
Okay.
The studio sound will get
There's
it
a
out of there.
thunderstorm.
Production will clean it up. Oh, okay. Is everything okay?
Yeah, I gave her anxiety meds, but they haven't kicked in.
Got it.
I heard she's talking about her dog.
Yeah, my dog.
Yeah, that's what I figured. I
didn't know who she was talking about. Her daughter, her granddaughter, the cat, the dog.
Crazy.
I figured it was the dog.
Yeah. No, but you know what?
My dog was barking earlier. That's why I had to close the door.
Oh, I think too that there is a belief out there. It's not true. It's a myth. I think a lot of people think that because of the advancement of technology, that payroll is not really going to be there anymore, right? You're just going to press a button. Well, everybody already thinks we just press a button and have
yeah, you think
perfect
just press a
payroll.
button, exactly.
But I think now is the time, and maybe this is why so many people are speaking up. Now is the time to get payroll professionals to understand. They've been hearing how, payroll provides strategic value for a couple years now, but has anybody said, here's how you do it? And
exactly.
Because they don't have that expectation in their job, no one expects that of them. Unless somebody helps them out and gives them the tools they need to become more strategic, they just don't know. They're lost. They don't understand.
Yep. And thank you for bringing that up, because that's the other point that I wanted to come back to, is that business acumen is everything around payroll. I was doing a payroll recently, and I was, just kind of running the register or whatever, finishing up. And I said, payroll is everything but this part. It's not just pressing, it's literally everything around pressing the button. And it's so much more. And again, something that Max says is you got to have that business acumen. I really can't wait to read the book, because I've been thinking more, we think more about the strategy around it, how you can save your company money. We've been, at the beginning of the show, we usually try to do, when it's just me and Walt mostly, we try to do like a financial fitness where what is it that a payroll person can do to help their company save money? Because we're not just a money drain. We can help save money. We can do the labor analytics and help with the labor analytics that John was talking about. And I found in the last year, I had a client that had overnight, and the store's not open overnight. So it was something that was going on in the labor, but it wasn't being captured because nobody was digging into the details deep enough to find it. And once they started digging, they're like, oh, Brian, what's this? What's that? And I was like, oh, yeah, no, that's an error, and we were part of that conversation. We helped save money. One other client I pointed out in a discovery, I think it was like $100,000 in savings just in like spillage, right? You know how the grocery stores, right? That's where I take it from, right? Like, they factor that in and not. Well, that same thing happens in payroll between time and attendance, PTOs. Oh gosh, years ago, I was working for a company that they were putting PTO on the weekends. And I was like, the lab isn't open on the weekends. What do you guys, how does this work? Well, this is a way we do that. And I was, whoa. So you find all kind of things that you can absolutely make an impact beyond just getting a clean check date. So
even
so simple, excited.
Something as simple as overtime trends. And someone asked me about this a couple weeks ago, and I said, think about this. If you do an analysis on your overtime and you see that a certain department overtime costs are really high, why are they high? Of companies out there who have a scheduling system, and their employees, if they need to take off, they can, put it out there. I need someone to take my shift. Is it the same person taking that shift every single time? And
every time.
Or, are there peak times of the year when maybe you need to get some temps in to help out to kind of reduce the overtime costs?
That's right. Is it another right? Exactly. Because if your folks are burning out, do you need the overtime, or do you actually just need it? It's a symptom of a bigger problem. That's what we find are those symptoms of a bigger problem when we start looking at the data. Oh gosh, I'm so excited. So let me tell you, before we get going here, what does the next 12 months look like for Payroll Like a Boss?
Oh, wow. Well, we have quite a few presentations that we're going to be doing over. I know we're going to be presenting. Actually, we have two presentations we're doing at the ADP Pro Summit, and they've had to move us to a bigger room because there wasn't enough room for all the people to sign up that signed up.
Yes.
That's exciting. We'll be at Congress presenting. I think, John, did you say we were going to be at the Georgia statewide?
We had potential invite to that. I will be at the Virginia statewide conference in October. A number of other things. We're actually doing a collaboration with many of the smaller SHRM chapters, the non-city-based SHRM chapters. We're doing a Payroll Like a Boss workshop, half-day workshop, because a lot of the HR professionals in those communities have to do payroll as well, and they want some knowledge and shared ideas, which Tammy and I will guide them through that. We've got a number of things we're blessed on. Thanks to this show and others, we have a few other podcasts we're recording to get the word out there. And as soon as the book launches, there will be another level of this, as you know, Brian. There's just another level. We're sending out the books to as many friends and family as we can to create a stir on April 28th. We're calling it Payroll Like a Boss Day. We launched the book on it. It's going to be Payroll Like a Boss Day for the rest of time. That's right. April 28th. Mark your calendars. It's like a birthday. And I do have to say, because I know we're probably going to wrap up quickly, but this podcast recording is such a reflection of the payroll profession. We got barking dogs. We got thunderstorms. We got poor Walt that had technical issues.
Yeah.
We got.
You still got to get it done.
I had to go and leave his chair for a second to see what was going on. You know, I'm podcasting.
My dog barking.
Your dog was barking. I'm podcasting from a different place, but the show must go on. We got to get the payroll done. You were all unfazed by it. It fascinates me. I love it.
My daughter doesn't want to study. We're trying to get her to study. She's kicking back. It's just you just still got to just keep going on. You just got to do things. You got to do the things. I got one more good one, and then we'll play a quick game. If you had 60 seconds to talk to every CEO in America, what would you tell them?
Develop your payroll professionals. It's not a cost. It is an investment because they can provide so much strategic value to your organization.
Love it. The fact that she had that on, like, just John, look, right? It was just right there. She didn't even think about it. Boom, done. On point. I love it. That's the clip right there. Yep.
Yeah. No, I would share one if I can, just really quick. I know you like guests that can say more than just yes answers. So I'm going to give you more than a yes answer. I truly believe that CEOs need to look themselves in the mirror. I think they need to take a hard look at themselves and say, am I doing everything I possibly can to create a world-class operation in my business for my people? That includes HR, benefits, sales, payroll. You go down the line. Have I done everything I can to serve my people, my internal staff? Secondarily, am I doing the best that I can to drive the financial impact I can within this organization, which means sometimes we got to make tough decisions. We have to look at, do we have the right people in our business? Doesn't mean you can't fire people if you're doing HR like a boss. You got to get the right people on the team. Many of us might be sports fans. We might watch, whatever it is on TV. There's an orchestrated way that these shows and these teams perform at a high level, and you have to be able to understand what that is and drive those business results. And if we do those two things, if we care for our people, and if we drive results for our business, we as the CEO have a steward responsibility to serve our community and make it better because of the business that we do within whatever city, state, borough that we are, country. And I just think CEOs lose sight of that because they want to drive results in their own way. They want to fly the plane. They want to have the cool membership at the country club. And I think they lose sight of the responsibility that they have to better serve their community. I know that was more than 60 seconds. People that know me know I can't
you're good.
fit that in 60 seconds. I think they need to look themselves in the mirror.
You better hope you're not up on
that.
Toastmasters on Thursday, John.
I'll be just fine. Carry on, Brian. Sorry. Thank you, Tammy, for the reminder.
No, you're good. And you know what? It's so funny because this week is my Toastmasters meeting on Friday. I love it. All right, we're we're going to wrap it up with a quick game of this or that. I think Walt was hungry when he did this because this is like the food edition.
Better knock it off. Sorry.
She's talking to her dog.
No, I know.
Dog mom like a boss.
It didn't go on me.
I know it. No, you're fine. It's like John says, just this is payroll, right? This is payroll. We have to process and
She's making me chase her around my office to get her in her crate.
God. Wait, we're gonna do this or that real quick.
Weren't you talking to Brian? Weren't you talking to Brian? He needs to knock this off. I think that's what she was saying. Brian, you need to knock this off. Come on, let's get this to that. So that
yes,
the dog out. Brian
yes, exactly.
Do her homework.
Oh my gosh. All right. And like I said, I think Walt was hungry when he did this one. This is the first like all food edition. All right. Steak or seafood? So what is it? Land or sea?
Steak, land.
Surf and turf. That's what it is. Steak.
Seafood.
What about you, John? Seafood. All right. Well, surf and turf. Perfect combo. Sweet or savory?
Both.
Both. Love it.
I'm going sweet.
John?
I don't like I don't really like things that taste too much, but I love a good sweet little ice cream cone locked in.
Oh, we gotta have you guys back on. Breakfast or dinner?
Did you say breakfast for dinner? Yes.
Oh, breakfast for dinner?
Okay.
That's what we have.
No, I said
tonight.
I'll
breakfast
give you my
or
answer.
dinner.
I'm saying that's my answer. Breakfast.
Okay.
Breakfast for dinner. Breakfast for lunch.
Yeah, we had breakfast
Got it.
tonight.
Oh man, I love it. All right, this is get a little fancy here. Truffle fries or garlic butter pasta? Walt was definitely hungry doing this.
I'm gonna go with
I don't like the
Guys.
carbs. I'm gonna take a pass. I'm gonna pass on that
Oh,
one.
it's what'd you say, Tammy?
I'm gonna go with the truffle fries.
All right, John's passing on both. Tammy's going with the truffle fries. I like it. All right. Soul food or Italian food?
Oh. I mean, there's no comparison.
It's a tough one.
there.
It's a tough one. I know, all right. I'm gonna say both, I think. I'm gonna answer it too. I jumped in it also.
I think it'll be a
I'm absolutely
Yes,
going
exactly.
Italian. Yeah, my second favorite meal of all time is chicken parmesan. I love myself some chicken parm. Followed
Nice.
first
Yeah,
leader
that's a
by
big
mile
favorite
is
here.
Thanksgiving dinner. That is when I will eat
Really?
mashed
Oh,
potatoes
interesting.
and stuffing and turkey and gravy and everything else, and then I'll lay on the couch and moan about it for about 90 minutes.
Oh, Tammy, you must have a ball with this guy. Mexican street tacos or barbecue ribs?
I'm gonna go with ribs only because my husband makes the most amazing ribs ever.
Oh, yeah. John?
I feel like that was the soul food and the Italian one, like a toss up. But I'm gonna give you an answer. I'm not gonna abstain on
Okay.
it. I would
Okay.
definitely go with some sweet barbecued spare ribs.
Yes.
Because you don't have those that often. But
Right.
you can get a street taco pretty much anytime, and it's so often. it's
Nowadays,
Taco
yes.
Tuesday. It seems
Yes.
so easy, but a good
It
baby
is, you're
back
right.
or spare rib with a sweet barbecue all day long.
All right. And then that's it, guys. That is it. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Congratulations on the book. I'm so excited. I'm going to get I had a bookshelf up, but I'm redecorating. I'm going to get it back up, and I got a lot of payroll books to put up. So I can't wait. I think I have them all right now. Y'all's aren't out yet. Oh no, I got to get Nick. I got to get just Nick Day's and yours, and I'll have them all. Nick Day wrote our forward, by the way.
Have you read all of them?
No.
I
I'm just
understand.
collecting at this
I
point.
have
They're
a
coming
stack
out too
here.
fast. Yeah. Yeah. I've read Anita's. I read Bart's. I read some of Max's first one. And then that's it.
Well, I read
So,
ours 20.
well, maybe, gosh. Oh, no. Yeah. Yeah. I
Anytime.
hope so.
Something like that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thanks again, folks. And wait, is there a website? Where do we go? Where are we buying this on April 28th? Where are we buying the book?
Amazon.
Amazon? Okay.
Amazon.
Yeah, you can buy the book most easily on Amazon. We'll have a 99-cent ebook that runs all the way through Payroll Congress, mid part of May, because we want this to get in as many hands as possible.
I like that idea.
We do have we own the domain payrolllikeaboss.com. We also are building out a community as a part of the book. So there'll be a Payroll Like a Boss community that we're delivering, which will really drive ideas around strategic payroll, the adjacent business acumen.
Where are you building the community? What do you mean by that? Where are you building?
We two ways. Number one, we have a platform we use, a learning management platform called Thinkific. And payroll, HR Like a Boss, we have a very large community, almost 6,000 people that are a part of that. And then we've already started the Payroll Like a Boss LinkedIn community for sharing ideas, collaboration, for us to share content. That's out on LinkedIn. And then we find that to be the easiest way for people to collaborate. We don't want to add another layer of this kind of app to use.
Got it.
Those two things are big additions to just writing the book. And we'll provide resources to the payroll community. We'll provide a chance for fellowship and networking. And, again, as you know, Brian, having written a book, it's maybe just not enough to read a book. You got to actually practically implement these things and present communities around it. And we're super excited about what that feels like.
Amazing. Love it. All right, folks, you heard it here first. Can't wait for it to come out. I'm so excited for this year and what's to come. Still early, still a lot to come. And please, congratulations again. Good luck at Congress. Take pictures, take video, and we'll see you guys soon. And to the rest of the folks, we love you. Tell a friend to tell a friend, subscribe, share, listen, and check us all out.